What's up, everybody? Matt Gajewski here, back again with the Odd Shopper channel. And today I am here to talk all things betting in the Pac-12 conference. Before we get started, make sure to hit that thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you know when this and all other content goes live. We're also brought to you today by BetMGM, and they have a phenomenal offer for you guys. You can get up to a $1,000 risk-free bet with your first deposit at BetMGM. You can click the link in the video description below or use the promo code OSCFB to claim your first risk-free bet. And we'll be using BetMGM to power this show, talking about odds throughout the conference. There's a couple bets I want to get into. This is a really fun conference to talk about, and we'll kind of be jumping around all over the place. To kick things off, we will go to the win totals market, where I think we have a very winnable Oregon State total here. It is sitting at 6.5. And you can get over at plus 115, a very rare spot where I like plus money towards an over. But Oregon State is a solid team this year. Last year, they went 7-6. They were the 12th ranked offense in the country, 87th on defense, a little bit to be desired there, but they returned so much production. Their quarterback, Chance Nolan, is back, and he was solid last year. He was actually the 7th highest graded passer per PFF in that conference. And he has solid mobility. He nearly rushed for 300 yards. When you look at his weapons, there's a little bit to be replaced. They lost Trevion Bradford and Zariah Beeson, but their second leading receivers back, Trayshawn Harrison, he was super efficient. 2.82 yards per route run is well above average. They also have Tyjon Lindsley, Anthony Gold. These are players that are experienced coming back, not to mention their tight end Luke Musgrave is there. On the offensive line, they only lost 2 starters, and some of the players they have coming back had pretty solid grades here. Joshua Gray is going to return at tackle, well above average in terms of run blocking. Solid pass protector, too. Marco Brewer, Jake Levengood, these are all solid players. And even a guy like Brandon Kipper has a solid grade. So I think they'll be able to run the ball with Deshaun Fenwick. So he'll be the likely replacement for B.J. Baylor, who moved on to the NFL. He's a practice squad player with the Green Bay Packers. But Fenwick, he had nearly 500 rushing yards himself on 78 carries. Big back, 6'2", 231 pounds, and then pass-catching specialist Trey Lowe is there. So it's an offense that has a ton of continuity coming back and productive players. Now, what do they return on defense? Well, they said they were the 87th unit overall. They returned 9 starters, and they have plenty of all-conference options here. They actually have 5 players who earned at least honorable mention all-conference honors in the Pac-12 last year returning, which is going to be very good for them. Now the schedule. You get into non-con. You have Boise State, Fresno State, and Montana State. Not the easiest, but they are beatable. There's a chance they end up going 3-0 out of this. When you look at their week 1 spread against Boise State, it's a spot where they're 3.5-point favorites. Against Fresno State, they lost their entire coaching staff. I think they'll be slightly favored, even though that's an away game. Then you get into conference play. You do get Utah and USC right out of the gate, but winnable games against Stanford, Washington, Colorado, and down the stretch you get Cal and Arizona State. I think you could get to 7 wins here and crest that 6.5 win total, cashing the plus 115. This is one of my favorite overs in the win total markets. Another one I like is Arizona. Now, this is the team that finished dead last in the conference last year. They're a team that is essentially completely rebuilding here. They only won 1 game, but I think there is a chance here this team is much better. They're actually the number 22 recruiting class in the country. They're number 28 in the transfer portal. This team got a ton better, and it starts with quarterback. They add transfer Jaden Delora from Washington State, who was PFF's 7th graded quarterback. He was the 5th graded passer. Now, that's not great, but again, it's a substantial improvement on what they had last year. Running backs quietly very deep. They have Michael Wiley. They have Drake Anderson coming in. They have a couple incoming 4-stars like Rayshawn Luke. Wide receiver, they add maybe the best transfer receiver outside of Jordan Addison in the conference. Jacob Cowan comes over from UTEP, 3.82 yards per route run is absolutely elite territory. And then they add some solid 4-stars at receiver too. Tetairoa McMillan comes in, who's an incredibly highly rated prospect. He's the number 51 prospect in the country. This offense should be significantly better, not to mention they're returning 4 or 5 starters on the offensive line, which should show incremental improvement. Defense, similar here. They were 124th, but 8 starters return on that side of the ball. Their non-con features San Diego State, Mississippi State, and North Dakota State. I think you have one surefire win there. And then their game against San Diego State is going to be huge here. That's a team also rebuilding. And right now, Arizona's a 6-point underdog, so we can chalk that up to a loss. But still, you get one game in non-con against North Dakota State that should be a win. In conference, Colorado should be tight, and then you just need one more to have some push equity. And I personally think San Diego State could be a team that faces a little bit of upset adversity here against Arizona. So I think 3 is a solid bet with the push equity. And then 4 wins here with the win total sitting at 3.0 is certainly gettable with this schedule. The over's minus 115. That's a number I'll certainly lay. And then to close this out, I want to talk the overall odds to win the Pac-12. USC is plus 220, and I think this is a fine number to get to. I like Utah. They're plus 240 overall, but I have a little more question marks with that team just based on offensive line and some of the losses they have on defense. When you look at the USC team, we know what they did in the coaching staff. They bring in Lincoln Riley. He'll be their main play caller. Grinch comes over as DC2, but this team hammered the portal. Caleb Williams follows Lincoln Riley at quarterback. They get Travis Dye and Austin Jones at running back position. Wide receiver, they add Jordan Addison and Mario Williams to already complement a roster that contained Gary Bryant and Taj Washington. The offensive line loses one starter, and the rest of this group is awesome. Voorhees, Nyland, Dietrich, Monheim, these are solid players here, and they added Bobby Haskins from Virginia. On defense, only 3 starters returned, but the starters that are coming back and some of the guys that had rotational playing time were solid for this team. Like Corey Foreman had solid grades on a limited snap share. He's going to be on the defensive line. And then they hammered the transfer portal so hard that this is a unit that I think will be better than their 98th rating. No, they're not going to climb towards the top of the country. They probably won't even be top 20 overall, but Romello Height comes over. Shane Lee comes over from Alabama. You have Mekhi Blackman from Colorado. Latrell McCutcheon follows his coaching staff from Oklahoma. Bryson Shaw is another transfer. This team should be better. It just needs to coalesce. So digging into the schedule for USC, they have Rice, Fresno State, and Notre Dame in their non-conference. That's tough. When you look at conference play, it's not the most difficult schedule. You do play UCLA. That one's on the road. And you play Utah. That one's also on the road. But you dodge Oregon. You dodge Washington. Those are 2 other premier teams in this conference. So USC honestly has a pretty good path here. In that midpoint game against Utah that's now on the road, this could be the game that decides the conference. So at plus 220, I don't mind USC. I'll sprinkle a little bit on Utah at plus 240 as a hedge to hopefully guarantee a profit there, but I think that is a solid bet. Running through this again one more time before we get out of here. The win totals I like in this conference, it is going to be Oregon State over 6.5 plus 115. It is Arizona, yes, the Wildcats, over 3.0 minus 115. A lot of push equity there. And then USC to win the Pac-12 plus 220. Let me know what you think about the Pac-12. Who's live to win it, some win totals you may be interested in, and I'll make sure to get back to you in the comment section. My name is Matt Gajewski on Twitter at Matt_Gajewski. Thank you for watching, and we will see you again next time.